you very much, Ravi. That was a very interesting introduction. It had a little snide comment about asking me to come and attend this event many times. It's been late. It's been a long time coming, but I'm delighted to be here. This is such an impressive setup. This is such an impressive event that you all have created. Truly amazing to see so many of you coming out for a learning session. I want to talk about change, okay? And you know, the world around us is changing at an extremely rapid pace. Now, I don't mean this change happening purely on a technology side, and we've already heard some amount of change coming around on the technology side. I'm also talking about change happening in the country, and I'm talking about change especially for our sector when it comes to legislation. And I'll come to that in a moment. So before I go on, I'm going to tell you that I am, just like all of you, I'm a practitioner in the field of real estate. So what I will talk about is not theory, but I'll talk about my experiences, and I'll talk about what I feel is happening and will happen as we go forward. Before we go forward, I want to ask you the following question, and I want to see an answer with a show of hands, okay? How many of you believe that in the next 15 or 20 years, the world around us will be tremendously different from where we are today? Yep, almost everyone. Let me ask you this next question. I'm sorry, can somebody just keep that door shut? Thank you. So let me ask you the next question. Most of you raised your hands when you said that the world is going to be dramatically different. Give me a show of hands. How many of you know what that difference is going to be? Anyone? Anyone know what that how the world is going to look in 20 years from now? We have about 1 or 2 visionaries in the audience. I can tell you that I have absolutely no idea about what changes are coming our way. So it's very easy to get extremely overwhelmed with all the stuff that's coming out there, right? I mean, look at what we saw, what AI can do. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed when you hear statistics about this industry will no longer be present, this industry will no longer be around. It's very easy to get overwhelmed. Let me tell you what I do and how we look at assessing and addressing the change that's coming our way. We start by analyzing what's not going to change. What's not going to change. So as a real estate developer, I can tell you, my customer is going to continue to want more value. He's going to want better specifications. My customer is going to want better amenities. And my customer is going to continue to want better customer service. So whether regulatory or technology changes, I don't believe any customer is going to come to me and say, Mr. Gera, can you give us worse quality of customer service? Or will you give us lesser amenities or lesser facilities? So the question you need to ask yourselves is, what's not going to change for you? What's not going to change for you vis-a-vis your customer? Now, let's imagine we had asked this question in the pre-RERA era, okay? I think one of the things that many of you may have said is what's not going to change is the terrible behavior from builders towards customers. Right? About 8, 10 years ago, it was quite conceivable that we would say that we do not expect the behavior from real estate developers to change, and that lack of change in behavior is going to be what's going to keep us in business. That has changed. So I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about 2 areas. One is technology and one is legislation. On the technology front, I want to talk about, like I said, I'll talk about my experiences. Let me talk about some of the changes that we've implemented in our organization as a real estate developer. We now use drones to review and assess the progress of a project and the external quality of the project. We've created technology setups where we have virtual accounts. Customers make payment into a virtual account. That information goes from the bank servers to our servers, and that goes onto our app, and the customer finds out immediately that the payment is received. Because of RERA, we have to have separate accounts for each project. I think we have some 60 bank accounts. We don't have a single person doing bank reconciliation anymore. It's all done using robotic process automation. So these technologies that we've deployed have helped us to reduce our manpower requirements. I'm going to now tell you about one change that we brought about, which I think is of extremely, it's valuable information for you. We started, about a year ago, I told my team, I said, I want channel partners to be paid. The day they raise the invoice to us is the day I want them to be paid. Okay? So I told my team this. They said, how are we going to manage this? What the hell? How do we do this? On the 16th of August, we switched on our technology upgrade. And in the last 6.5 months, about 691 channel partners have been paid on the day that they raised the invoice to us. Okay? I spent a minute telling you this because I think you should go and demand this from all other real estate developers, right? In other areas which we are looking at deployment of technology, we now have every single email that comes from a customer that goes in through our AI tool, right? And every email gets assessed for tone of voice. Is the customer happy, angry, joyful, sad, disappointed, dejected? And the customers where we need to act, those get flagged and get escalated to somebody else. No human being is now doing the assessment of the mood of the customer. We're now looking at the next step where the tool reads the entire trail of emails and is then able to advise what steps should be taken to convert this customer and to turn the customer around. All using technology today. These kind of things improve the experience for our stakeholders. But I believe we are only scratching the surface. We already saw avatars, we see digital twins, we see deep fakes. We're looking at databases which can be read by the AI tool, and a customer can call in and ask us, what is the height of the apartment? You don't need a human being to go look it up. What is my apartment overlook? It'll read it off the drawing. This is all coming, right? Reading unstructured data is where the future is going to be. So it's an extremely exciting time. And I think we can use technology to reduce manpower. We can use technology to increase output. We can use it to reduce errors and increase accuracy. So as we look at growth in our organization, we're looking at, as we double the scale of our organization in the next year or two, the manpower in our office will not increase. Zero increase except for our construction sites. So we want to double our output without an increase in the people to do it. This is possible using technology today. Moving on to the legislative framework, I think the RERA regulators are finally acting as regulators. They're driving the real estate sector to perform better in the interest of the end customer. This is already happening. They're talking about quality checks, delivery, progress updates. The regulator's starting to do this. And I am pretty sure in the next few years, we will hear about the real estate regulator looking into financial closure of projects. We do development in the US. You cannot start a project till you have financial closure. There's no such thing in India. I think it's something that's going to come. So in preparation for this talk, and I was thinking I'll use AI. I said, let me use the AI for this talk, right? I asked the following question to Gemini. I said, can real estate agents be replaced by technology? Of course, you guys are going to say no. So this is the answer. Let me read it to you. While technology can help real estate agents, it is unlikely that it will replace them. Technology can enhance the services provided by real estate agents, but it cannot replace the human element that agents provide. But it's really important to look at technology then in the right context. We're all aware that in San Francisco today, taxis are being driven without any taxi drivers, right? So it's fair to say that in the US, let me put it this way, it's fair to say that in the US, the job of the taxi driver is at great risk. I don't believe the job of the taxi driver in India is at great risk because you cannot have AI programming to ghusao in India, right? So it's about the context. It's about the context what we're looking at, right? So just as our traffic in India is governed by chaos, the question for you is, what is the chaos as far as you're concerned? What part will you not be AI'd out of? So let's just talk about that for a few seconds, right? What is the kind of update that you give to your customers about the status of the project? About the financial closure of the project. I talked about it before. But imagine if you start talking to your prospective customers about financial closure and therefore the risk to the customer of a developer running out of money. Because while RERA says 70% of the money has to go into a designated account, what happens if the sales don't happen? Where does the money come from then? What about when a customer moves in, stocking up the refrigerator? This is done by realtors in the US on a regular basis, right? A picnic basket on move-in day. If someone is moving from a different geography, what are the restaurants in the area? I'm sure many of you already do this, but I'm pointing it out because I believe you can use technology to exploit your business, but it is important to use the human touch, and that will help you remain in business. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rohit Gera, I'd request you to remain on stage. I'm sure we have a few questions. Can we take a few questions? 2 questions. Anyone who'd like to? Yeah, there we have. Let's get the mic. Yeah, you want it? Yeah, please go ahead.
Turn the mic on, please.
Hello. Yeah. Do you think that there will be disruption in the development model itself?
Sorry, I'm going to...
Do you think that there will be disruption in the type of houses that we are going to build in the future?
So I think that, so the question is, do you think that there'll be disruption in the type of houses that will be built in future? I think, homes are going to get increasingly specialized, right? We started doing this about 10 or 12 years ago when we came up with child-centric homes. It's a totally new product line. So I think you'll have specialization in terms of the different things that you can do in homes. It's often said that a Tesla isn't a car with a computer in it, it's a computer with wheels. So I certainly think that we'll have computers which we live in, and that'll be some type of homes, and there'll be others which will not have that kind of technology. So I don't think there'll be too much disruption, but I certainly think that we'll have specialization and new types of products which will come out.
Hello, sir. This is Tarun Gera from Delhi. My question is like the new system which is coming up of multi-ownership, making LLP and, more than one people are buying property together. So you see this as an opportunity or threat for the general business?
I'm not the fragmented ownership model, personally to me, and I'll say this in private, but I'll say it in this large public forum. But my own expectation is, I don't think it's a massive opportunity. It's not something that we are pursuing, and I'll tell you why. Just, you all know this, right? Real estate is the only asset. If you buy the entire asset, you can buy it with debt. You can buy it today and you can pay for it over 20 years. In fractional ownership, you can't do that. Now, if you have a small amount of money and you want to do fractional ownership is already available through REITs, right? Fractional ownership is already available in terms of the stock of the company in real estate. So I think fractional ownership in a specific product comes with certain amount of risk. It has to reach a grand scale for it to actually work. In which case, if it's at that large scale, I think you'll be in a REIT anyway. So my own belief is I don't think fractional ownership is something that has a very massive potential. Now, I could be proved completely wrong, but you know, we do business and it's all about judgment calls. That's just my judgment call.
Got you. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, hi. Sagar Visavadia this side. Here, sir. Hi.
Okay. So, yeah.
So, as you were discussing about reducing the manpower in real estate, so imagine there are a lot of companies who say that I have a team of 50 people, I have a team of 100 people, but in the end of the day, it matters that how much money you're making. So how can we do that using the technology? So we need pre-sales, post-sales, site visit, marketing, a lot of people. So how can we reduce the manpower in real estate?
So if you think about it, the idea is you can't reduce any role that needs to be played. A site visit is going to be needed, the customer needs to be responded to, right? How do you increase the productivity per person? How do you use the technology? So you take AI, where you have to send a response to an email by a customer. If all the information is available and the system can generate the email response, that person has time available now to do something else. So the point is, we have to look at every single activity and every task of every individual to see how the productivity of that individual gets stretched. So can you double the productivity per person? And it is not going to happen by eliminating certain tasks because those tasks are going to be needed. A customer needs a receipt to be issued anyway. How can you do it using technology without a person having to actually physically do it?